I'm Rosemary Rosine, and I'm a rancher in central Alberta. The first time, it was in 2015, probably late in the fall of 2014, I noticed that I had what appeared to be some kind of little nub in my anal area inside, and it wasn't like a hemorrhoid. So I kind of paid attention to it, and by the first part of the year I knew it probably was something to be looked at. And by the time I got it looked at, it turned out to be anal cancer. So I went in and had treatment for that summer, radiation and chemo at the same time, and we got rid of it. But then the following, I think it was a year after that, the following fall, I went in for my routine test, which had been clear, and they saw some spots on my lungs. So they decided that probably wasn't anything, but they wanted to take a look. And it turned out to be that this particular cancer, as unlikely as it was, had spread into my lungs, and I had a few little nodules there. So then it came time to go through maybe treatment the second time, but the treatment plan wasn't very user-friendly, shall we say. And so I had been always reading up on natural health stuff and everything, believed in healing oneself and those kind of things. So when I started treatment the second time, I knew really soon that I probably wasn't going to survive the treatment. And so I quit. And then I thought, now I have to do something. Meanwhile, my daughters had heard Corey Deacon speak, and they said, Mom, this guy's for you. So I went and saw him, and he was. The first thing he told me was, when I told him what I was going through and what I needed, the first thing he told me was, I'm not going to treat your cancer, but I'm going to treat your body and your immune system, basically, and let it take care of itself. And I said, that's fine with me. And so then he was able to, he could really explain how the body worked, the body systems, and you could just understand. And I thought, this makes perfect sense to me. And so I was like, and I wasn't going to do anything else. Like, this was what I needed to do. So I said, yeah, let's go ahead. Oh, they're there for you all the time. They're very open and friendly. Corey's one of the smartest men I've ever met, yet he can bring things to a level where you understand. I know sometimes he says he should dumb it down a bit, but I've asked him not to, because even though I may not be able to repeat what he just said, I do understand what he's saying. And no matter how shook up I get sometimes with all of a sudden your confidence or your fear gets a hold, he's just calm, and he's able to say to you, this is how it's working, and it's working good, and things did work. I mean, we saw shrinkage in the nodules, which nobody had ever told me I'd have, and I am now 2 years in. I feel fantastic. I feel like I'm 10 years younger. I mean, that alone, there is no sick for me. I just don't feel it. Originally, my daughter had talked to somebody who's, I think a mother, somebody had, was going through some treatment, and there was some numbers suggested, which I thought, oh, well, that was somebody else's illness. He was upfront with how much the start would cost and asked me if I had a budget. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, some people can't afford some of this. And I said, how about you take care of the treatment and I'll take care of finding the money? Because for me, this is my life. So money didn't. And overall, if you spread it out over, the couple of years, has it been an investment? Yes, it has, but it's worth every penny, and I know where the money's going. Somebody said to me, do you think you're being ripped off? No, because I've seen the lab tests and I've seen the different costs, and so they accumulate, but they're for very reasonable things. Well, the neurofeedback part, which is something that was very new to me, really brought about lots of changes I had lots of problems with fear, anxiety, those kind of things. I saw those levels just come right down. The chemo had given me memory gaps, and that became way less of an issue. Just the diet end of it, which was for inflammation and control disease and stuff, lost 30 pounds. I mean, same size I was in high school. I can do the things I did back then. I mean, overall, it's just the whole thing is so integrative, and it just works. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it calms your brain and you learn how to do relaxation things. Because the diet helps make you feel better and healthier. Doesn't hurt to be slimmer, but just because it makes me healthier, that's all about being healthy. Yeah, I can get out and do the things. I don't have depression and things. The fear is under control because I know somebody's helping me deal with the issue of cancer. And I firmly believe that I'm going to recover from it. Well, if I'd gone through the treatment route I was headed down, if I was still alive, I certainly wouldn't look like this. I mean, I've watched a close relative, same age as me, pass away not long before me, and I saw her go down that route. Yeah, there's not much left of you. And so that's what I ran into when I was going into treatment the second time. I was supposed to have 8 rounds of chemo, 3 weeks each. And by the middle of the second round, I was already as bad as I'd been at the end of my first rounds of chemo. And I just looked down this long pipe and saw myself not making spring. And if I did, there wouldn't be anything left for me to enjoy. And so to me, it was a choice that if my life was to end, it was going to end on my terms. But I also knew that I probably wasn't going to die because I'm going to find something else to do. I knew that was out there. Mm-hmm. So in finding this, it was just a tool that helped me go forward with the belief that I can live and overcome this. So yeah, it's what I needed to do. Not sorry in the least. Money is money. You can always get more. We each have to make our own choice. We each have to believe in what we do. And so if you have to do chemo and radiation and this, because that's what you need to believe in, then you do that. If you don't believe in the chemo and radiation, or it doesn't seem like that's going to be the good end result for you, you can do this. But the main thing here that I can't say often enough is you have to believe. You have to believe it's going to work.